Let's try it again with a little bit more energy. Good morning.
Good
All
morning.
right.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
Alderwoman
welcome.
Milele A, and I have the pleasure and the honor of representing the 6th Automatic District. Uh, this is our 9th annual Housing Resource Fair, and welcome. I am joined by Alderman Russell Stamper, who you'll hear from in a moment. But we wanted to take the time. We know that you and your family are trying to stay safe right now. And as we deal with the pandemic and COVID-19, we recognize that people still need housing resources. They want to know how to buy city homes. They want to know how to fix their credit, and they want to know how they can save their home. All information that will be shared with you here today at the Housing Resource Fair. Even though we're sitting in this pandemic and we're dealing with it, we wanted to make sure that we brought you the information. So in order to be safe for your families and ours, we've decided to still go through with the Housing Resource Fair 2020, but to do it in the safest way possible. We truly do believe in building up the neighborhoods in the city of Milwaukee, and this housing fair is one small way for us to connect you, the residents, with the resources you need to buy and sustain the beautiful home that you're in and to help strengthen our neighborhoods. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, and thank you, Alderwoman Coggs. I also would like to welcome you. I am Russell Stamper II. I have the honor and the privilege of representing the 15th Automatic District. As Alderwoman has stated, this is our 9th year. We are very excited this year, although we are coming through to you virtually, but we have not stopped with the amount of resources and the amount of new information and new programs that we have to offer our community to help us with rehabilitation and improving our community through housing. We have a housing issue here, and the best way we can improve our housing and do better is to partner with our community, partner with the young developers, partner with the ones who want to invest in the city of Milwaukee's neighborhoods. We've all been struggling during this pandemic, but we have found creative ways to provide as many resources and as many partnerships as possible to help us get through this pandemic together. So our next workshop is entitled COVID-19 Resources Workshop, presented by D. Kemp of Axe Housing, Emmet of Housing Resources Incorporated, and Deb Heffner of Community Advocates. They will bring you information on everything you need to know and what's available out there in the city of Milwaukee for resources regarding this pandemic. Alderwoman Cobbs?
8 months ago, we all, watched the news and saw and became aware of COVID-19. We've had stay-at-home orders, and we've had to deal with the reality of not being able to visit family as much and having people be sick, and unfortunately for some, even losing their lives. We find ourselves right now in another peak of COVID-19 cases right here in the city of Milwaukee. In fact, you're watching this workshop today virtually because of COVID-19. And so we recognize that people are struggling with everything that's going on and has gone on for the last few months. Legislatively, we've attempted to do several things to help people out, to not have to pay fines for being late with taxes and a variety of other things. Today, you will hear from some subject matter experts about various resources that are available. Homeowners and renters may be struggling to make mortgage and or housing payments due to COVID-19. Today, you will get advice on how to contact your mortgage lender to request payment deferments, or you will hear from Housing Resources about the Milwaukee County Mortgage Assistance Program, which provides emergency grants to help make mortgage payments you have missed due to COVID-19, and find out resources for tenants who are having difficulty paying their rent. We are confident that although it's been a struggle, we can get through this together. And today you'll hear some resources to help you do that. Thank you.
Well, welcome. My name is Deborah Kemp, and I'm with Axe Housing. I'm so excited to be able to present some material today. At Axe Housing, our mission is to create vibrant communities by helping families achieve their dream of home ownership. COVID-19, of course, has presented a lot of challenges for everyone in our community, but that doesn't mean that you have to let go of a dream like home ownership. This is a counseling agency, so we are currently working with and will continue to work with families that have obstacles because of COVID-19, but are still working to achieve their dream of home ownership. Now, like most of the families that we serve, COVID-19 has presented some unique challenges, I think, for every family in our community. If maybe you have kids home from school, so you're learning how to be a teacher for the first time and help your kids through schooling. Maybe you're working from home for the first time and figuring out all the technical challenges that come with that and getting really familiar with things like Zoom and Microsoft Teams and learning how to navigate your workplace in a new way. Maybe you have additional expenses because all of a sudden the kids are at home more and they're eating more and you're using more utilities. These are all pretty common challenges that everyone is encountering as we try to adjust to this new normal. Now, what happens a lot of times for us is this increases our anxiety, and we might not be sure how we're going to handle these challenges. It's really important that everyone in our community know that there's no shame that should be associated with that, and that a lot of families are experiencing those same challenges. And there are so many great resources available in our city, organizations that truly were made for these type of situations that want to be there for you and help you through any challenges that you're encountering. And we're going to hear from some of those great organizations as relates to any housing issues that you're encountering. We're going to hear from HRI about their program where they're helping families through the mortgage process if they're struggling to pay that mortgage. And we're going to hear from Deborah as related to challenges you may be experiencing if you're finding it difficult to pay your rent and stay on top of that. So the first thing to know is that there's help there out here for you. And there are people and organizations that want to help you meet this need in these difficult times. I think the biggest challenge to getting that help is often you. We don't like to ask for help. We don't like to let people know that we're in need of assistance. We need to get past those feelings in challenging times like this. So as soon as you see that and feel that stress level start to rise, the most important thing that you can do is be proactive and stay calm. As you see your budget tightening, as you see your budget straining, the best thing that you can do is start to contact, whether it be your mortgage provider, your landlord because you're in a rental situation, your utility service. It's time to start contacting all of these different places that you have debt to or make regular monthly payments to and say, this is what my situation is. Do you have any type of relief? And what are my options to be able to keep up with this payment for the best of my ability? Now, some businesses and organizations have set up great programs that allow you to pay a lower amount. They may even have programs that help you cover some of the fees associated with your bill. But the big thing is you're not going to know if you don't make them aware of what your situation is and what your needs are. The entire world is literally responding to this change in our environment. Every business has been touched. Every organization has been touched, and they're trying to figure out how to work with you effectively so that you're not left in a bad situation once we move past this crisis. You're able to, a lot of the credit reporting, negative credit reporting has been suspended, allowing for families to be able to reach out and address these issues. You're a homeowner or a renter, no matter what your situation is, one of the primary things that we teach as educators helping people to get their finances right for home purchases is budgeting. Stop and look at your budget and say, what can I cut back? What can I cut back on? Talking to those service providers is a great way to figure that out. If you know and anticipate that you're going to have hard times down the road, or that your employment, your hours may be reduced, this is a great time to get in touch with your internet cable provider and say, what plan am I on? Is there a plan that may reduce my cost? Because I do still need to maintain this service, but perhaps I can do it in a more economical way and adjust my needs to what my circumstances are. The city of Milwaukee, particularly if you're a homeowner, the city is strongly encouraging you to make a plan. If you typically pay your taxes on the payment plan for your property, go ahead and make a plan. Okay, how am I going to get my taxes 2021 that first month paid? Because once you pay that first month, at least you're not automatically falling into delinquency, and now you're able to contact the city and really try to set up a payment plan that makes sense for you to be able to keep up. A lot of times we are our own worst enemy because we're not being proactive in reaching out to figure out how we can address the challenges that we're presented with. I cannot encourage people enough to not do that to yourself. That's just increasing your own stress and your own anxiety. And when you finally do take the time to be proactive, start making calls, you actually feel better. And I think you will actually be surprised by the level of support that you're going to see out there if you take the time to seek out that support and contact anyone that you owe debt to or have regular bill payments with, to let them know exactly what your situation is and what you can do moving forward to stay as on top of things as possible. Now, of course, that's easier said than done, but that's what this type of event is about, really letting people know that we have such an outstanding network of nonprofit organizations and public, city-driven and public services that are out here for you. So please take advantage of those. Call 211. Tell them what your situation is. They'll let you know about the abundance of resources in your area that you can reach out to. You got the kids at home and they're eating up everything, and you're at home too. So all of a sudden, all of that, maybe they were eating at school and you were eating away. So now those expenses are higher. Huge network of food pantries and organizations that serve and really can help make up that gap for you. So I know a lot of times we look at those type of services and we don't want to look at ourselves and see ourselves as people who need those services. But it is not your fault what is happening right now for so many families. You are not in control in this situation, and we all love to be in control. But unfortunately, COVID has presented us with a situation where we're in control of much less than we usually are. And that can be a really scary feeling, but I need everyone in our community to not be scared and alone when there are resources and help that can get you through this and on the other side of it. So please know that you're not alone. All of our families are suffering some type of consequence because of this pandemic, but we are here for one another as citizens, and we are going to get through this together by tapping in to the many resources that are already available. I'm going to pass it off to Emmet Gross over at HRI, who can talk a little bit more specifically about what to do if you're in a situation where you're finding it difficult to pay your mortgage. Before that pass off, I will say that this is another area where it's really important to be in touch with your mortgage provider as soon as you think there may be a problem paying. It's a great thing to reach out to them and talk to them. But maybe you've been waiting. Maybe you're one of those anxious people who hasn't been sure what to do, and now you're in a situation where you're already behind on some payments. That's okay. There's still help and resources for you. There's still time to reach out. Let me turn it over to Emmet so he can let you know about the great things that HRI is doing to help support our families that are in that type of situation.
All right, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk a little bit about the program that we're running. We're running a mortgage foreclosure rescue program right now. And what that means is that we're providing direct financial assistance in the form of mortgage payments sent directly to the mortgage company to help people to get caught back up on mortgages where they've fallen behind because of a COVID-related issue. That program is runs Milwaukee County wide. There are a few qualifications, and I'll go through those in just a minute. The big thing I want to stress on that program is that the application to apply is December 18th. So as of right now, it's only about a month left open in that program for application. So if anybody is thinking about applying or thinking about somebody else about applying, now is the time to start that process, because it does take a little bit of time to complete that process. And the worst thing that we can have is somebody that would have qualified but misses the cutoff date and then misses out on the opportunity to get the financial assistance that is available. So what the program does is it will cover up to 6 months worth of missed mortgage payments that are related to a COVID situation. And we try and keep the COVID situation as broad as possible. It can be if you've been laid off from work, or seen reduced hours, or if your business is closed, or in a lot of cases, we get a lot of people that were running their own business, cell phone businesses, and they've seen their income decrease and the revenues decrease. It can also be a situation where maybe you've had to leave work because your kids are out of school or they're doing virtual learning and you have to be home. You can't be out of the house like you would. Anything that can be traced back to COVID, we try and find a way to get people approved. That's really what we're trying to do, is get as much of this assistance, as much of this money out to the people that need it as possible. So we've even had situations where people have gotten sick or had other things prior to COVID, but then the COVID has slowed their recovery or prevented their access to the physical therapy or other things that they need in order to be able to get back to work. And so that recovery process and that ability to get back to work has been delayed. And that's a situation too that we try and work with and try and get as many people approved as possible. So again, the thing I want to stress, if you think that you might be eligible, if you're thinking about applying, start the process now. The application process is a two-step process. The first step is a pre-screen questionnaire, and that goes over the basic eligibility requirements. Those eligibility requirements are: you have to be a homeowner, you have to live in the home that you're applying assistance for, and you have to be title owner to that property. That property has to be located within Milwaukee County. Like we mentioned, the event that caused you to fall behind has to be related to COVID in some way. And there is an income requirement. It's set at 80% area median income, which for a single person is about $46,500. And that goes up by about $7,000 per person for everybody else that's in the household. All those income numbers are on our website. www.hri-wi.org. That website will also have all of the requirements that I just talked about and a link directly to the application process. Once you're approved through that pre-screening application, the second step is to do the full application. And in that full application, we'll ask for a little bit more detailed information about your income, about your expenses. There's a few other documentation items that we'll ask for. The big things that we're going to ask for is a photo ID, because everything is being done remotely. We need some kind of verification that you are who you say you are and that the property address matches the ID address. We need a mortgage statement, the most recent mortgage statement, because we need to know how much money you need to get caught back up on the mortgage. And we also need to know where that money needs to be sent. If you're approved, the money gets sent directly from us to the mortgage company. So we need to know where to send that check to the mortgage company. Beyond that, we ask for some kind of documentation on the hardship, and that can be a lot of things. It can be a layoff notice. It can be a notice from your children's school that they're going virtually. It can be unemployment filing, a letter from a doctor, anything that traces the hardship back to COVID. And then there's a couple other forms that we ask to fill out, which are pretty much our basic intake and disclosure forms. There's also a form called the Attestation Form, which gives you an opportunity to write out in your own words the situation that's happened and how it's related to COVID. And we use that along with the hardship documentation to make sure that it's COVID related. And again, like I said, we're trying to get as many people qualified as possible. So even if you think it might just only slightly be related to COVID, or you may or may not apply, I really encourage you to take that step and apply and start the process right away. There is a hotline that we run that assists with the application process. If you're having trouble uploading documents or navigating the website, or you want to check on the status of an application, or just have questions about the program in general, the phone number for that hotline is 414-369-6914. And as I mentioned earlier, all the information for the requirements, the guidelines, income limits, all of that stuff, and the link to the application is on our website, which again is www.hri-wi.org. So again, the biggest thing, I've sent this a couple times already, I want to stress it again, is if you're thinking about applying, take the steps to apply now. Because like I said, the worst thing that we want to see is somebody miss the deadline and get shut out of this really unique opportunity. We don't get a lot of direct assistance programs, and especially this one, the money that's provided is really no strings attached. It doesn't need to be paid back. It's not added into your mortgage. There's no liens placed against the house. It's really a straight grant. The money is paid directly to the mortgage company. You're brought current, and hopefully you never have to think about it again. So because this is a rare opportunity and it's a great program and it's a great chance to deal with these hardships and be able to take a step forward and move on with it, we want to get absolutely as many people in as possible and get as much money out as possible. So, please start the application process as soon as you possibly can. And with that, I think I'll pass it on to Deborah and let her talk about some of their programs.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on today alongside Deetra and Emmet. So I'm happy to be able to share some of the resources that that relate to rental housing. So on the other end of things, so I work for Community Advocates. I'm the Housing Strategy Director there, and so we exist to basically make sure that people can meet their most basic needs. And so a lot of the stems around ensuring safe and stable housing. And so we do this through financial assistance, case management, and also help with relocation. So like everything, our service is really accelerated post COVID, and we were actually in the process of working with partners to create a rental housing resource center. And so we were looking to open up our physical space, and then COVID had other plans for us, like so many of you. And so we were able to focus instead on creating a rent helpline and an email where we've been responding to thousands of requests from landlords and tenants, mostly about our rent assistance program. So we were really grateful to be able to be the recipient of the Milwaukee County rent assistance dollars through CARES. So we've been administering those since June of 2020. And the process to apply, we created an online application form. It's very similar actually to what Emmet shared, but on our website, communityadvocates.net. And there, what we're really looking for is a loss of income. So the application, we try to streamline it as much as possible, but like Emmet said, the same things that require like an ID and then a proof of that loss of income. And if it's not COVID related, and again, like, you know, so much of everything is COVID, you know, even if you're not able to get to the, like if you're having troubles, like if you had lost your job before COVID, obviously it was just that much harder to be able to work during COVID. So we're taking all that into consideration and just trying to be the most help that we possibly can and get these resources out. So again, so you go to communityadvocates.net. I'm going to show some slides in a minute that I can show you at the very last slide what the actual web address is. But you can complete the online app. If you're not able to complete the online app, we do have at our 728 North James Lovell Street location downtown, we do have the ability to be able to go and pick up the application there to a hard copy, and you can drop it off as well. We have a drop center there, as we understand that not everybody can access that. So as part of the Rental Housing Resource Center, like I said, we did create the rent helpline and also the email that we've been responding to as well. I'm going to share my screen real quickly here. So what we have here are tips for landlords. We really try to saturate these widely when COVID first hit, especially in preparation for the first eviction moratorium, the state eviction moratorium that ended at the end of May. So we developed these landlord tips, and we also developed tips for tenants too. But basically, we were encouraging landlords to check in with your tenants and to provide resources. The biggest thing was just trying to let people know that there is help out there, and we still have resources that we can use. And so if you are behind on your rent, or if you're a landlord, and I mean, it has a trickle down effect. Obviously, if you're not getting paid from your tenant, it puts you in hardship. So just making everyone aware that are these dollars that exist, and that what the eligibility is, so that we can so that you can apply. And so the other thing is just, Deborah hit on this as well, is just to not wait until it gets to be such an overwhelming amount. The help is here right now, and we can help hopefully get all those arrears paid off so that, you're standing on your own 2 feet again, and hopefully coming into 2021 in a better place. And so we, the tenant tips are, So here again, we're just, encouraging communication with the landlord, and just being proactive and reaching out for rent assistance. The great thing about the Rental Housing Resource Center is that it really allows us to be able to connect the applicant with other legal and mediation services as well. And so it's a great partnership, that we have with those partners, to be able to make sure that that the applicant or the tenant is receiving rounded services. So I think that is about it as far as our eligibility requirements. Again, you can visit communityadvocates.net and apply right online. And we do have and these are all the Rental Housing Resource Center partners, by the way. And so it's beyond just the tenant tip partners. So Legal Action, Mediate Wisconsin, Legal Aid, UITA, Milwaukee County, the City of Milwaukee, 211 Hope House, and Community Advocates. And also the Apartment Association of Southeastern Wisconsin, which is unique to be able to be partnering with them as well. So here's my contact information. Again, the email is renthelp@communityadvocates.net. We also have a hotline number, 414-270-4646. And you can apply on communityadvocates.net. Again, the things that you would need are your driver's license and your information, like if you are a tenant, about your landlord and your housing situation, and then proof of loss of income. But our team can work with you to be able to get those things as well. So, and there is also an income requirement as well, very similar to what Emmett's program was. Just you have to be 80% or below of AMI. So we look forward to helping you if you need help. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emmet Gross. I'm the post-purchase manager with Housing Resources, and we are managing the foreclosure rescue program for people who've fallen behind on their mortgage related to COVID issues.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Santos, and I'm the Family Experience Manager at Housing, Axe Housing. Oh my God, this whole Maria thing threw me off. At Axe Housing, we are located at 2414 West Fleet Street, and we're a nonprofit HUD certified housing counseling program.
I'm Maria Prioletta. Hi, everyone. I work for the City of Milwaukee Department of City Development. Just here today to welcome you. Thank you for coming, and then follow up on anything that we might need to follow up on. So again, thanks for taking your time to listen in today. We appreciate it.
Okay, we have a series of questions that we've received, so we'll jump right into them. With COVID, I am thinking about moving from my apartment building and buying a home. Can Axe help me with that?
Absolutely. So we have so many families right now during this whole pandemic that are still looking for affordable housing and the resources to get them into home ownership. So that is the first step, and we would be thrilled to help anyone that has that interest. And that starts with a free orientation that's online. You go to www.axhousing.org. And that's going to get you started. So definitely we do have the resources. We will do a financial analysis. There is no counseling fee other than the credit report, the soft pull credit report, so it doesn't affect you negatively. So that's $24 for a single person and $48 for a married couple. So that definitely is the path to get you started on finding the resources that are available, or getting your pre-education counseling ready to get yourself in a position to purchase.
Thank you. Okay, next question would be, how do I know who to contact for my mortgage loan if I'm having trouble making payments due to COVID and want to ask for options regarding payment arrangements?
The people you would contact would be your mortgage servicer. Those are the people that you're making the mortgage payments to. They are the ones that have the say in what can be done with your mortgage. A lot of mortgage servicers are offering forbearances, which are a period of time with reduced or suspended payments for people whose income has been affected by COVID. If you're having trouble communicating with the servicer, I don't know how to contact them. A counseling agency like Housing Resources can help with that process. That's a big part of what we do. So you can contact us directly. Our phone number is 414-461-6330.
Thank you. In regard to the mortgage assistance, will it pay for late fees on my mortgage?
Yes, the number that we're looking at when we figure out how much needs to be paid out is what's called a reinstatement figure. And that's the total amount of money it would take to get you back current on the mortgage, where you can resume your regular monthly payments. And that will include the missed payments, late fees, legal fees, anything else that's been rolled into that amount. So it would be the full amount to bring you current. Whatever's been tacked into that would be covered.
Thank you. Okay, the next question we have is, in regard to the mortgage assistance, if part of my mortgage payment includes an amount for my tax escrow, grant funds for that as well.
Yes, it does. That all rolls into that reinstatement figure that I just mentioned. So most people, mortgage payment is escrowed, which means a portion of the monthly payment is going towards taxes and insurance. And usually what happens with that escrow is it's held by the bank until those bills come due. And then it's they release the money to the city or the county or your insurance company. And so that's considered part of the regular mortgage payment. And that would be part of the amount that would be required to bring the loan current. So we're looking at, the total mortgage payment, including escrow, and covering that whole thing to get you current.
Nice.
is there any chance that mortgage assistance will get renewed or be available after December? And how would I find out about this?
It's not looking like it's going to be renewed right now. And so what that means is that the application deadline is December 18th, so just under a month from today. So for anyone that is considering applying for the program or thinks that they may qualify, starting the application process as soon as possible really is crucial, because you don't want to miss that application deadline and then get shut out, or you otherwise might have qualified for assistance. So just we're telling everybody, just assume that it will not be renewed into the new year, and that December 18th is going to be the cutoff date.
Does anyone else have anything to add to that? Okay. Do I have to be delinquent on my rent to get rental assistance?
So the Milwaukee Eviction Prevention CARES dollars that Community Advocates is administering is specific to arrears. However, there are other partners, and Community Advocates as well has funding that can go to future rent or security deposit as well. So the best thing you can do is apply for rent assistance. The criteria is that you need to have had a loss of income. So you need to prove that loss of income. But from there, we can assess the situation and look to see what pocket of funding might be available to you to help either cure the arrears or to help moving forward.
Okay, thank you. If I'm a landlord and my tenant is having problems paying their rent because of COVID, is there a way I can help them apply for assistance?
Absolutely. So all along, we've been encouraging landlords to also be aware of the resources that exist and provide those resources and information to tenants. So early on in the pandemic, we put out tips for landlords, and that included just communicating with your tenants, providing resources, and just knowing what's out there and available. So you can direct them to the website of Community Advocates or to the SDC City Milwaukee Rent Assistance Program to apply. And again, it's just about knowing what's out there and providing that information in case your tenant is not aware that it exists. Along with, there's 5-day notices, obviously. And so we've heard of a lot of tenants as well that are providing that information prior to issuing that 5-day notice to give time to be able to, assess the situation. And we highly recommend that as well, because as we all know how detrimental an eviction filing can be on a record.
Okay. Is there any chance the eviction moratorium will get extended beyond December?
So that's a good question. So the federal moratorium that currently exists, to our understanding, is ending on the 31st of December. There has been talks at a state level, and I believe Governor Evers introduced legislation last week that might propose an extension of some type. But what's important to remember is that the moratorium is not a rent freeze. So it's really important that the resources for rent assistance are known, and that if you are not able to make your rent, or you're afraid about not being able to make the rent in the future and you've had a loss of income, that you reach out for these resources, because unfortunately, those arrearages will just continue to pile on, or that stress, if you know that you are not able to make upcoming payments. So even if it is extended, we highly encourage tenants to stay current if they can, and if they cannot, to reach out for help.
Okay, thank you all very much. That is the last of our questions. Does anyone have anything that they would like to offer that was not mentioned earlier, either from your workshops or from the questions that were posed?
Well, I just wanted to think, oh, sorry, go ahead, Maria. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to add that there's so many resources out there, even during this time, that folks, all you need to do is just please make that phone call. We're here to help. Housing Resources, there's UCC. We all provide the same type of counseling, and there's so many funding sources available to help folks that the first step is picking up that phone and making sure that you make that call and get those questions answered. We might not have all of the resources there at Axe Housing, but we certainly will try to help to point you in the right direction.
And I just wanted to thank Alderwoman Coggs and Alderman Stamper for hosting this event, and also for including resources on rental housing. So I also wanted to just quickly mention that Community Advocates is in the process of opening with 8 of our other partners a rental housing resource center in Milwaukee. It'll be the first one here in quite some time, if ever. And, you know, it's a partnership between Community Advocates, Legal Aid, Legal Action, the Apartment Association of Southeastern Wisconsin, Impact, and Mediate Wisconsin. And so we're super excited to be able to bring this concept as a one-stop shop. And, you know, it's going to be opening virtually because of COVID, but we also hope to have a physical space that will be located at Community Advocates at our downtown location in early 2021 for Zoom eviction court hearings and other resources as well.
So let me begin by thanking all of the panelists and all of the people who came and showed out today to help us partner with the community to improve our housing stock. Everyone that is on the panelists today, I want to say thank you for your support for this community, and thank you for this partnership with our 9th annual Housing Resource Fair.
I echo the sentiments of Alderman Stanford. Thank you for everybody who shared their information, who shared what they knew and their knowledge to assist others, to assist those in need with information, much needed information during this time of the pandemic for resources for their home. You know, given all of the issues that we're facing as a nation and as a city and as a state with the pandemic, we knew it was really important to still bring this information and resources to the people. So we just decided to do it in a much safer way. And I just am thankful to each of you. Normally we'd be all sitting in North Division, really deep, and sitting in classrooms full of people. And although we couldn't do it that way, I really, really appreciate you all being willing to give up your time and your talents to share the information today. It is just our way to try to be creative, to connect people with the resources that they need. Because Alderman Stanford and I both truly believe in the neighborhood and in the community and the necessity for us to help rebuild this city.
We appreciate your commitment to this community, and we're going to continue doing these resource fairs every year. Next year will be 10 years, and hopefully we're out this pandemic. Hopefully we'll get to do some face-to-face interaction with the community and the panelists.
And thank you to all the panelists for speaking here today. And together we will build a better Milwaukee.